At the moment, I don't know what you're sorry for, Russell, so are you able to tell me?
Russell, I know you're struggling at the moment, mate, but can you tell me what's happened? Is your wife hurt at the moment?
Oh, sorry. I forgot my tobacco.
Pardon?
I forgot my tobacco.
Take some deep breaths then, slow your breathing down.
Oh, no.
We've got people on the way round, but I'd like to know what we're going to go into when we get there. So what's happened? That's it, compose yourself, that's it. Nice deep breaths.
Please open the door. What's the back door like?
That's the back door here, same as.
You're not going to be able to come in. Would the kids be in there with her?
I don't know. She's got 4 boys.
The inside will go. It's the dog. It's gone. Close that gate. Close that gate. The dog's gone. Hello, police.
Is there anyone else at home with your wife?
No. No. My dog, I forgot about me poor dog. Well, I forgot me dog. He's me dog there.
Okay.
Me dog. Me dog.
Baby. Come on. Hello, buddy.
Come on.
Does she want to come and get the dog? The dog's going to over there. Hello, police. Oh, yeah, no.
Where's your wife at home, Russell?
She's upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whereabouts upstairs is she? Pardon? In the heart? Which room? In your room? Russell saying Jade is in their bedroom upstairs. If you can relay that to North Wales.
Hey, buddy.
Door's locked. The memo here.
Locked?
Yep. House is empty.
Oh, yeah, no. The house is empty. There's no signs of any disturbance in the address either. Yeah, we are at the right house. There's no children here either, so potentially she's with the children somewhere. Can we do some hospital checks?
Russell?
Is that in relation to our job?
Yeah.
Just confirm it's empty. Russell, the house is empty.
It's not.
Yeah, we've got a body.
You okay?
Nope.
Found a body here. Hidden
Deceased.
and a load of clothing. Can we get an ambulance making?
Hey, Russell, Time is 9:38 and you're under arrest for murder. You do not have to say anything, but may arm your defence if you do not mention my question. Essentially, lying in court. Anything you say, make evidence. Stand up for me. Hands behind your back.
Are you the sister?
No, that's
I'm her auntie, but I'm
Auntie.
like a mum. And,
Who's her next of kin?
Me.
Should we go back to your address?
No. Where is my niece?
Right.
All I wanna know is that
Unfortunately,
she's okay.
unfortunately, she's not. She's deceased.
Jade was beautiful inside and she was beautiful outside.
She was literally just the bestest person you could have in your life.
She was just brilliant.
How'd you feel, Jade?
Jade was born in 1994 in Chester. This bundle of joy she was.
Oh, but she was gorgeous. She was just sweet. Really, really sweet. She was a really kind and caring little girl. She loved music, she loved singing, she loved dancing to it. She was always fiercely independent.
I'm the youngest. There's Kai, and then Becky, Jade, and then me. Jade was 8 years older than me, so I've always been the baby. Even now they call me the baby. We all shared a room, me and my sisters, but I used to stay in Jade's bed all the time because we were like so close.
I first moved into this house with the twins and Jade was a lovely, bubbly 9-year-old girl, and very quickly we built up a friendship, myself and Karen. I became Jade's godmother and Karen became my youngest daughter's godmother.
We met when I was about 11 or 12. She was wild, loved life, absolutely loved life.
She started dyeing her hair. I said, what have you done? She had the outrageous clothes, but our Jade could carry it off.
She was so fun.
I was with her.
That was in Shotton.
Yeah. That's where you'll find all the clothes, you'll find everything there. I did live there.
Russell's arrested on suspicion of murder and then he gets taken to Thai custody. It was 10:30 in the morning that I'm notified and asked to help lead that investigation.
A woman who was found dead at a property in Shotton in Flintshire on Thursday morning has been named locally as 27-year-old Jade Ward. A 29-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of murder and is in police custody.
When you've woken up Wednesday morning, did you have plans to go to that address?
No plan.
What was your intention on going to that address?
Comment.
This is a murder investigation. It's his opportunity to tell us as the investigation team what's happened.
You tell me what you know about her murder.
No comment.
Because Russell was given sort of no real indication as to what's happened, we need to piece everything together.
So I'm going to ask you then, Russell, are you responsible for the murder of Jade?
No comment.
A mother of 4 who was found dead at her home has been named locally as 27-year-old Jade Ward. North Wales Police said a man aged 29 has been arrested on suspicion of murder and is in custody.
In relation then to the murder of Jade, you were cautioned and there was no reply at the time of caution. However, you have stated, I'm sorry, I love her and I love my boys. You've then stated, you don't know what I've gone through for 3 years. Can you confirm that you said those words?
No comment.
Because he had come into the police station, I thought he was going to tell us everything. So I was really disappointed to hear on that first interview that he didn't answer any of those questions.
What was it about Jade that attracted you to her?
No comment.
She met Russell, I think she was about 16, and they hit it off straight away, I think.
I was 9 when they first got together, and he seemed nice. They seemed like they were happy, definitely.
And then she obviously found out she was pregnant then.
I remember Jade telling me she was pregnant. We were stood in just the hallway of the house, but she was like, you're going to be an auntie.
She always said she wanted quite a few kids and to have that happy, crazy family lifestyle.
Jade, who was the teenager, has suddenly transformed into Jade the mum, Jade the adult. It was really nice to see. It was like, that's who Jade's supposed to be.
Jade's calling in life was to be a mum. She was absolutely amazing at it.
Before we go through things, is there anything you want to tell us?
His behaviour was, 1 minute he sort of couldn't talk. He was sort of heaving, and then the next minute he would just sort of not react at all.
There's clearly things going through your head, yeah? You've probably got a lot of images and a lot of memories in there, yeah? And the questions are only going to get harder in the next interview for you, okay?
Right at the beginning, I thought he was nice.
When I first met him, yes, I did like him.
We loved that man. You know, we loved him, we accepted him into our family.
As much as he seemed very sociable, he was very quiet. Didn't really like to get himself involved in things too much.
Would you describe yourself as aggressive in the relationship?
No comment.
A few years into the relationship, I'd say he definitely changed. I'd see text messages like, you're not doing this, and I don't want you to do that, you're not going.
She was a strong person, but I also think that in some cases, Jade found it easier to just go along with things rather than to have an argument because she wasn't confrontational.
You described as controlling, jealous, obsessive. Have you got any comment to make in relation to that?
No comment.
Okay.
He would visit the co-op that she worked in. He would phone the co-op to make sure that she was there.
He'd go onto his Snapchat and he'd know when she was at work. Wherever her phone was, he knew where she was. Wherever she was, he'd turn up, but he'd ring and ring and ring and text and text.
He would just hound her and hound her and hound her.
She always had to change her passwords because he'd just go snooping on everything.
He was very possessive.
To me, looking back, that was signs of a coercive relationship that I'd missed out on. Wanted her all to himself, didn't want to share her.
Whenever they did split up, because they did split up on a number of occasions, he would you know, sort of drive past the house, want to know where she was, what she was doing, who she was with.
He'd drive past the house and then he'd stop and he'd beep and he'd shout, and it was just all too much for her.
She didn't really want to be back with him, but she got back with him for the boy's sake.
She gave him chance after chance after chance.
Jade didn't want her children to be from a broken family. She wanted her children to all be as part of a family unit.
Jade would do anything to keep the boys happy. The boys were Jade's life. End of.
At this stage, we knew that you had a relationship with Jade. Okay, that relationship was some 10 years long. And obviously you fathered 4 of Jade's children. You have split up and got back together with Jade a number of times. That's been evidenced by friends and family. If any of what I'm saying is incorrect, please do correct me. I'm not here to put words in your mouth.
He'd gone and booked the wedding, booked the reception, sorted everything out without Jade knowing.
Jade didn't know she was getting married until she come in from work and the kids told her.
Jade couldn't break the boys' hearts, you know, by saying, not a chance, matey.
She just went along with it because she didn't want to disappoint the boys.
She didn't want to marry him. She didn't want to get married.
Jade had no say in the wedding. It was all done by him.
She was really heavily pregnant at the time, number 4. Definitely a last. She didn't want no more.
All he had there was his parents. Russell didn't even have no friends that he could have for best man. As they're walking back up, he looks at her and he says, you know, now you're mine.
Now, if I'd have heard that, I'd have told all my family to get him out of here, because you'd have known what kind of man he was going to turn out to be.
Worst things you could have done was marry that guy.
I just hate the fact that she married him. I hate the fact how things went.
When Jade signed her name, from that day, Jade was doomed.
Towards the last few years, Jade didn't want to be with him anymore. I think she just fell out of love with him. And I think he knew that deep down.
He just wouldn't like her doing anything without him.
Jade couldn't do anything. She couldn't go anywhere, be with anyone without him on the phone.
Jade said that she didn't love you anymore and that she didn't want to sleep with you because it made her feel sick.
No comment.
The thought of doing anything sexual made her skin crawl. That was her exact words. He makes my skin crawl.
Did you love Jade? Or did you hate her?
No comment.
Russell would regularly look on social media, and he used that to find out where she was. It's just another way that he would control Jade and give her that message to say, I know where you are, I know what you're doing.
August the 20th, we had gone to a friend's housewarming party. That night, it was the first time I'd noticed that Jade was set in stone. She was done. It was over. They were still together, but he used to just sleep on the sofa. She was going back to tell him to pack his stuff and he was gone. And I said, oh yeah, Jade, whatever, same old story. I've heard this a million times over. She was like, no, I'm really done.
Russell, knowing that he was probably starting to lose some of that control on her.
Russell was fixated on the fact that Jade might be seeing someone else. She wasn't.
Every time we do something, we do it together. There's quite a lot of us. We're all really close. So we've known Charlie for years.
Jade and Charlie, it was just a friendship.
You know, so they met at parties, nothing happened. Nothing ever happened.
How would you feel about her starting a new relationship?
No comment.
Did you have any issue with her having male friends?
We came back here after we'd been to the housewarming party. Charlie decided he was just going to drive down. So Jade jumped in with him and I said, no, I wanted a bit of fresh air. So me and my partner, we walked home. Unbeknownst to us, Russell was watching from down the street and he was texting her. Bombarding her with texts. It wasn't like that at that particular time. She went home and said that she didn't want to be with him anymore and he had to leave there and then.
That night, he knew he had no more control over Jade. That was it then. They were done, you know, they were done.
Were you concerned that she was having sex with anybody else, Russell?
No comment.
On the 22nd of August, we've got CCTV of Russell visiting Jade in work. There's no sound. However, I think you can see from her demeanour that Jade doesn't want Russell there. This is probably him realising now that this is really the end of the relationship.
Did you plan this?
No comment.
You understand the gravity of the situation, I know you do, I can see it on your face. This evidence doesn't look good. The evidence is pointing towards the fact that you killed your wife. Russell, is there any reason why you're not being able to explain to us what's happened?
He gave no real indication as to any sort of motive or why he would want to do this. So it's really important for the investigation team to piece together not only what happened on the night, but in the days leading up to the killing.
Is there anything that you can do to help us understand how Jade died?
No comment.
Russell met his friend in a pub. He was talking about Jade having an affair and cheating on him. And he was saying things like, you'll see me in the papers. His friend was really quite concerned about his behaviour. He offered to put him up for the night. Russell was going to stay on the sofa. His friend left him to go to bed. Russell was just staring at a blue screen.
His character, he was this family man where he was doing the right thing, he was working, and he gave everyone the impression that he was this person he wasn't, because underneath he had a dark side.
My kitchen backs onto the side of their house, and it's amazing how much you see in a person without actually speaking to them. He would pace up and down the side of the house, chain smoking, you know, quite angry, stern look on his face. And there was a time where he was like that and he was really not in a great mood. He was fuming. He was overly angry for somebody whose wife had just been out with friends.
Had you planned to murder Jade?
No comment.
How long did you plan that for?
No comment.
What triggered you to want to do that?
No comment.
The relationship was over between Russell and Jade had asked for the key to the house back. He wasn't living there at the time. We got CCTV of Russell going into a shop and getting a key cut. For me, that shows clear intent.
The last day I spent with Jade, we went to a place in Chester and we had a picnic up there. It was a really fun day, the last day we spent with her. She'd received messages off Russell, so she knew he'd been looking for her. He's like, well, where are you? Your car's not there. You know, so we knew he'd been in the street thinking that she was there. He said that he'd wanted the kids for a few hours before he went to work at the power plant. So she said, well, that's fine. You can have the kids. We're going to pop to the Melrose pub. So he came, got the kids. She'd asked him for the house key, and he said he would do that when he dropped the kids off.
Russell says that he's got to go to work at 6 o'clock, so she needs to be back by then.
I literally was finishing my drink. I watched her walk down the street, and I said, oh, I'll be with you in 5-10 minutes.
Jade comes back and some other people come back to the house, and then Russell goes off to work.
Went down to her house. He'd just left. She said he was acting a bit weird.
CCTV shows him arriving at work.
It's about 7:30, and Jade, Taylor, and then Charlie and another friend of theirs, they were all just sat in the front garden and they were having an absolute blast that night.
And then the phone call started. Then the messages were coming. Message after message, to the point she turned it on silent, turned upside down so we couldn't actually see when it flashed up that he was ringing, and it had its own chair in the middle of us. And I remember turning the phone round and she'd had 37 missed calls. She even made a joke. She said he'd probably be here somewhere watching us.
From the investigation, we know that just before 10 o'clock in the evening, he then messages his supervisor to ask if he can leave work. His boss replies and says, yeah, that's no problem. But from work that we've done from the investigation team, we know that that was a lie. Because we had the CCTV, we were able to show the route that Russell took. He didn't go to any hospital. He didn't contact his brother. We've got him on CCTV stopping for petrol and to get a drink. This is really compelling evidence. It just can't be disputed.
There was a little connection between Jade and Charlie that night. I hadn't seen her that happy in ages.
It was about 11 o'clock and I had this urge to go and see Jade. And as I'm getting closer, I can hear laughing. And I walk in the gate and Jade's like, oh, Mum. And you know what? She stood up and she said, Mum, I'm finally free. I've told him, no going back. We just hugged and kissed and told each other we loved each other. And you know what? I walked out the gate smiling.
We were able to show that his phone from 11 o'clock that evening was in the area around Jade's address. He parked his car around the corner.
Instead of parking directly outside Jade's house, you've taken steps to conceal your Ford Focus around the corner. Can you tell me why?
No comment.
And was obviously watching us for quite some time. It gets me now, like I can't go out in the dark anymore. The thought of being watched. I thought that he was sat there for ages just watching us and listening to our conversations. And
I passed him twice. I passed him when I was walking to Jade's with the dog, and I passed him as I was walking back. And he hid very well because I didn't see him.
yeah, she just said to me that she'd had a feeling that he'd leave work and come back down to her house that night, to which then I agreed that I'd stay there. And she said to me, no, she said, I don't think he'd do anything while the kids are here. Now, that was her exact words. I don't think he'd do anything while the kids were here. I said, are you sure you don't want me to stay? She said, no, I'll be fine. So I left.
Jade and Charlie have always been close friends until that night. They were just talking and I think they just shared a kiss.
Obviously, Russell's seen Charlie gave her a kiss goodnight.
It was at 12 and everyone went home, and that was it.
Left in the house is Jade and the 4 boys. Russell then lets himself into the house and he goes into the bedroom that's downstairs and whispers into one of the boys' ears that Mummy was kissing another man. We then think he probably took a knife from the kitchen and that he went upstairs. One of the boys says that they heard Mummy and Daddy arguing. He falls asleep, and then at some point, Russell killed Jade.
Did you kill her because you thought that she was having an affair with somebody?
We know from the pathology results, Jade had extensive amount of injuries.
Did you cause these injuries?
No comment.
Large slash wounds to her face, stab wounds to her arms.
So the pathology in this case indicates that Jade was attacked with a knife, causing slash injuries to her face. And whilst trying to defend herself, she sustained stab wounds to the left arm and cuts to the fingers of the right hand. How does that make you feel, hearing that?
No comment.
Did you do that to Jade?
No comment.
We had a fingerprint mark in blood that was on a light switch within the house.
Why is your fingerprint in Jade's blood on the light switch?
No comment.
This evidence firmly put Russell in the house at the time when Jade has received all of these injuries.
But the actual cause of death was asphyxiation.
The 4 boys were in the house. At any time, they could have been woken up.
Your dad said if you've harmed her, tell me now so we can go to a police station. Does she need an ambulance? You've not responded to that. Why is that?
No comment.
I can only presume you've known in your head she wasn't going to get any better because she was dead by that point. Is that why you didn't phone an ambulance?
No comment.
No, never once did I think he would be able to do something like that.
I think she must have been so scared and terrified. It's just unbearable to think.
Just after 2 o'clock in the morning, Russell's made a phone call to his mum from Jade's phone. That phone call lasts about 40 minutes. His supervisor contacted Russell. He doesn't ignore those messages. He does actually reply.
He then gets the children, packs them into Jade's car and takes them to his mum's house.
Between 10 to 8 in the morning and 8:30 in the morning, all of the mobile phones go off the network.
And we also know that now those phones are missing. So where are those phones?
No comment.
We did do a search after Russell's arrest of his parents' address and the mobile phones weren't there. So what was Russell thinking? If I get rid of them, they won't be able to show any of this and I'll be able to give my own version of events. We've never recovered the knife.
What have you done with it?
No comment.
Where have you put it?
No comment.
And then he goes to the local police station and hands himself in with his dad. With his fake crocodile tears.
At the moment, I don't know what you're sorry for, Russell, so are you able to tell me?
Russell, I know you're struggling at the moment, mate, but can you tell me what's happened? Is your wife hurt at the moment?
He's more than a monster. He's more than a monster.
He was just an evil, evil man. That, you know, what he'd done that night was bad what he'd done.
Russell was interviewed 5 times in total, over a few days.
This is your last interview with us now, so
There is going to be a trial. There is going to be a court case. Jade's family are likely to be aware of the details of what happened to Jade. Okay? If you were to plead guilty, then those details wouldn't come out in the court case. Come on, Russell, tell us what you're thinking.
Do you want my consultation? Yeah, come here.
Do you want us to pause the interview for further consultation? Okay, the time is 4:09. The client's off for further consultation. I'm going to pause the interview for that to happen.
A 27-year-old mother of 4, Jade Ward, was found dead at her home in Flintshire. Her husband, 29-year-old Russell Marsh, has been in custody for 2 days and is still being questioned following his arrest on suspicion of her murder.
This is a recommencement of the interview. Russell, you've asked for further consultation with your solicitor. Okay? I can only assume that's because you want to tell me something. Tell me what's happened that night.
No comment.
Okay, I'm going to conclude the interview.
A man's appeared in court accused of murdering 27-year-old Jade Marsh, also known as Jade Ward. Russell Marsh was remanded in custody by a special court in Mould. The 29-year-old spoke only to confirm his name, address and date of birth. He's due to appear at Mould Crown Court on Wednesday.
It's extremely frustrating that Russell didn't talk or tell us what happened. It means that we had to go to trial.
He pleaded not guilty to all charges at the beginning.
When the trial has started, he's still changing his account.
The trial was long, gruelling, full of lies.
Russell's defence was that he'd gone to the house, he'd had consensual sex with Jade, she had the knife. He said that Jade caused the injuries to herself.
And it was his word that Jade inflicted all these wounds on herself.
He just tried to blacken her name.
He thought she was going to get away with it.
Russell's defence was that she was saying some awful things to him about how she'd moved on with somebody else. And he says at that point he could just hear white noise. And all he wanted to do was to stop her talking. And at that point, he has strangled her.
He didn't regret what he'd done at all. At all.
Not 1 ounce of remorse on that person's face. The jury went out to deliberate.
We were expecting it to take days.
And next minute, we're being called back into the court.
It was like less than 2 hours.
When we heard the guilty verdict, we were, all of us just burst into tears. Having to sit and endure two weeks of the most horrendous evidence.
It was just a, you know, proper, oh my God.
Jailing Marsh for life, the judge told him he'd been consumed by self-pity and jealousy. He said his actions had devastated the lives of Jade's children and the rest of her family and friends, and he'd shown absolutely no remorse for what he'd done. And he warned him there was no guarantee he'd be released from prison at the end of his 25-year minimum term.
I think a lot of us felt that when he received a sentence, that we would feel that justice had been served, but I don't think any of us felt that.
For me, personally, it wasn't enough. Before he got taken down, he looked up at us all, just smiled at us all, just not one bit bothered.
He's diabolical.
It was slow, painful, terrifying death she had.
It was like, right, what's next? Hence Jade's Law.
We all thought that with him being in prison, that would be it. We'll never hear and see him off him again, to which we found out that wasn't the case at all.
The boys had been put into the family's care.
Even though Russell was a killer, he was still able to say what school his kids went to, who they should be with. He was demanding school reports, wanted photos of them, and they had to give them to him.
No, I'm not having that. I'm not having him having any control over them boys anymore. So then I spoke to Edwin and I said, Ed, we need to do something.
I thought there may be a way to prevent him by starting a petition. I had to write it in such a way that it didn't conflict with any sort of legislation at the moment. So basically it was a creation of something brand new. Once I devised the petition, I needed a way to get this petition out into the general population to get the numbers. Team Jade came into being very quickly. It was made up of Jade's friends or family.
We had all the posters made and little flyers made.
There were YouTube videos produced.
We had people on the radio talking about it. We had people on the news talking about it.
Sharing everything on social media.
We just went for it. We didn't stop. And we managed to get the 100,000 signatures in 9 days.
Wow, 100,000. Can't believe it's happened so quick. It triggered off a debate in Parliament. The Ministry of Justice were very much determined that they were not going to change anything at all. So we spent the next few months travelling up and down London, trying to keep MPs on board, trying to keep the pressure on. I sat down and wrote a lengthy letter to the Prime Minister saying that what would he do if his daughter had been murdered by an individual? Would he want to communicate with the murderer of his daughter?
I get a phone call out of the blue. It was the Minister of Justice. He says that they've reconsidered.
We will enact Jade's Law. No family should have to go through this. And thanks to their efforts, we will protect children and families by making their law a reality.
Couldn't believe it. Absolutely made up then.
It felt wonderful, to be honest with you. For such a small community to have taken on Parliament, it's absolutely astounding.
So Jade's Law is the suspension of parental rights when one person has taken the life of the other parent.
They've got no control over them kids, and that's the main thing.
Jade's become immortal through this campaign now. She's going to be there forever.
No parent should ever have to bury their own child.
Far too tragic.
Another sad thing that gets me angry is that the boys have to come up here to visit their mum. Do you know what? I prefer the anger than the sadness. The sadness is unbearable. People just bring up, you know, little things that mean a lot to them. Oh, Jade. I mean, I still text her phone in the hope that she'll answer. But she never answers anymore.